The massive alien ship hung in space like a dark mountain. Its black metal surface was covered with sharp spikes and glowing red lights. Inside the ship, Commander Jake Morrison walked down a long hallway. His boots made soft sounds on the cold floor. Behind him, Dr. Lisa Kane carried a small tablet computer. Her hands were shaking just a little. "Are you ready for this?" Jake asked without turning around. "As ready as anyone can be," Lisa replied. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the worry in it. They had been fighting the aliens for 3 months now. The Zephyrian Empire had come to Earth with hundreds of ships. They wanted humans to give up and become their slaves. So far, Earth had fought back hard. But the aliens were stronger and had better weapons. The hallway ended at a huge door. It opened with a loud hiss. Jake and Lisa stepped into the biggest room they had ever seen. The ceiling was so high they could barely see it. Strange blue lights floated in the air like tiny stars. At the far end of the room stood General Vexthek. He was 12 feet tall and looked like a giant lizard. His skin was bright red with black stripes. His eyes glowed yellow like fire. When he moved, his long tail swept across the floor behind him. "Humans," the general said. His voice came through a small device that changed his alien words into English. "You have come at last." Jake walked forward. He was not afraid, even though the alien was much bigger than him. "We're here to talk. That's what you wanted, right?" General Vexthek looked down at them. His yellow eyes were cold and mean. "Talk? There is nothing to talk about. You will give us what we want, or we will take it. What exactly do you want?" Lisa asked. She held her tablet ready to take notes. The general's mouth opened wide. Jake could see rows of sharp teeth. "Do not play games with us, little human. We know what you hide. We have watched your kind for many years. We know about your greatest weapon." Jake looked at Lisa. She looked back at him with confusion in her eyes. "What weapon?" Jake asked. "The beast," General Vexthek said. The words came out like a growl. "The thing that destroys worlds. The thing that eats everything in its path. The thing that cannot be stopped." Jake's mind raced. He thought about all the weapons Earth had. Nuclear bombs, laser cannons, plasma guns, space mines. But none of them fit what the alien was talking about. "I don't know what you mean," he said. The general's eyes grew brighter. "Lies. We have seen the reports. We have watched your kind spread across the galaxy like a disease. Everywhere you go, the beast follows. It consumes everything. It changes everything. It destroys the natural order." Lisa stepped forward. "General, I think there's been a mistake. We don't have any weapon called the beast. Can you tell us more about what you think you've seen?" General Vexthek turned to look at her. His long neck bent down like a snake ready to strike. "You dare to question us? We have evidence. We have proof. Your kind has used the beast on 17 different worlds. Each time, the result is the same. Total destruction of the original environment. Complete change of the planet's surface. The beast grows and grows until nothing else can survive." Jake tried to think of what the alien might be talking about. 17 worlds? Humans had only started colonies on about 20 planets, and they had been very careful to protect the environment on most of them. "Can you show us this evidence?" he asked. The general made a sound like a laugh, but it was not funny. It was scary. "You think we are fools? You think we do not know when we are being lied to? We have recordings. We have images. We have seen the beast at work with our own eyes." A large screen appeared in the air above them. It showed pictures of human colonies. Jake recognized some of them. New Texas, Haven Prime, Liberty Station. They all looked normal to him. Green fields, clean cities, happy people. "Look at this destruction," General Vexthek said, pointing at the screen. See how the beast has changed these worlds. Nothing remains of their original beauty. Everything has been consumed and replaced. Jake stared at the pictures. They showed human cities and farms. They showed roads and spaceports. They showed the normal things that humans built when they settled on new worlds. This is just colonization, he said. This is how humans live. Exactly, the general shouted. His voice was so loud that it hurt Jake's ears. The beast. It spreads everywhere. It takes everything. It cannot be controlled. And you pretend it is normal. Lisa was writing quickly on her tablet. General, I think we need to understand each other better. When you say the beast, are you talking about human civilization itself? The alien's eyes narrowed. Do not try to confuse us with your words. We know what we have seen. We know what you have done. The beast must be stopped before it spreads. Further, Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. These aliens were not just afraid of human weapons. They were afraid of humans themselves. They were afraid of the way humans lived and grew and built things. What do you want us to do? Jake asked. Give us the beast, General Vexthek said. Surrender it to us. Let us contain it before it destroys more worlds. Do this, and we will let your kind live as our slaves. Refuse, and we will burn every human world until nothing remains. Jake looked around the huge room. He saw other aliens standing in the shadows. They all had the same cold, yellow eyes. They all looked ready to fight. I need to talk to my people. Jake said, This is a big decision. You have one Earth Day, the general said. Then you must choose. Give us the beast, or watch your species die. The meeting was over. Jake and Lisa walked back down the long hallway. Neither of them spoke until they reached their small ship. They're scared, Lisa said as soon as the door closed. Yeah, Jake agreed. But scared of what? They keep talking about the beast like it's some kind of monster. But all they showed us were normal human colonies. Maybe that's the point, Lisa said. Maybe they think our normal way of life is monstrous. Jake started the ship's engines. As they flew away from the alien vessel, he looked back at it. It was huge and powerful and dangerous. But for the first time, he thought the aliens might be more afraid of humans than humans were of them. The question was, what were they going to do about it? The meeting room at Earth Command was packed with worried faces. General Amy Foster sat at the head of the long table. Her gray hair was pulled back tight, and her blue eyes were serious. Around the table sat the most important people on Earth. Scientists, generals, and government leaders all waited to hear what Jake Morrison had to say. Tell us everything, General Foster said. Jake stood up and looked at each person in the room. The aliens want something they call the beast. They think it's our most dangerous weapon. But when I asked them to explain, they showed me pictures of our colonies. Normal human settlements. Nothing that looked like a weapon to me. Dr. Richard Hayes, the head of weapons research, leaned forward. Did they give you any technical details? Any specifications about what this beast is supposed to do? They said it consumes everything, Lisa Kane said from her seat next to Jake. They said, it spreads across worlds and changes everything it touches. They said it can't be stopped by normal weapons. That doesn't sound like any weapon we have, said Secretary of Defense Bill Turner. We've got nuclear bombs, plasma cannons, particle beams, but nothing that matches that description. General Foster tapped her fingers on the table. What about? Our experimental projects? The ones in the black sites? Dr. Hayes shook his head. I've checked everything. Project Stormbreaker, Project Thunder, Project Icepick. None of them fit. Most of them are just bigger versions of weapons we already have. Katie Brooks, a young analyst with short brown hair, raised her hand. General, I've been looking at the alien surveillance data we intercepted. The Zephyrians have been watching. U.S. for 30 years. But they're not watching our military bases or weapons factories. What are they watching? General Foster asked. Katie pressed a button on her tablet. The room's big screen lit up with a map of Earth. Red dots marked locations all over the planet. They're watching our cities, our farms, our factories, our spaceports, all the places where humans live and work. That's strange, Jake said. Why would they care about civilian areas? Maybe they're looking for the beast, Lisa suggested. Maybe they think it's hidden in our cities somewhere. Dr. Hayes pulled up a file on his computer. I've been analyzing the alien communications. We've decoded. They use the word beast 47 times in their messages. But they also use words like plague and infection and unstoppable growth. Growth? General Foster asked. What kind of growth? I'm not sure, Dr. Hayes admitted. The translation software isn't perfect. But it seems like they're talking about something that spreads and gets bigger over time. Katie stood up and walked to the big screen. Look at this pattern, she said, pointing to the red dots on the map. The aliens are most interested in places where humans are expanding. New cities, new farms, new industrial areas. Places where we're building and growing. But that's just normal human development, said Mayor Janet Park, who represented the civilian population. We build cities because we need places to live. We build farms because we need food. We build factories because we need things to use. Right, Katie agreed, but maybe that's what they're afraid of. The room got quiet. Everyone was thinking about what Katie had said. That's impossible, Secretary Turner said. They can't be. Afraid of us just living our lives. That doesn't make sense. Does it? Lisa asked. Think about it. These aliens come from somewhere else. They have different ways of doing things. Maybe the way we live seems strange to them. Maybe it seems dangerous. Jake remembered something from the meeting with General Vextek. The alien general said we had used the beast on 17 worlds. He said it caused total destruction of the original environment. 17 worlds, General Foster repeated. That's almost every colony we have. But our colonies aren't destructive, Dr. Hayes said. We're very careful about protecting the environment. We follow all the terraforming protocols. Do we? Katie asked. She brought up pictures of human colonies on the screen. Look at these images. This is New Texas before we arrived. The screen showed a dry, rocky planet with no life. And this is New Texas now. The screen showed green fields, blue lakes, and a busy spaceport. We made it better, Mayor Park said. We brought life to a dead world. From our point of view. Yes, Katie agreed. But from an alien point of view, we completely changed the planet. Nothing looks the same as it did before Dr. Hayes was reading something on his tablet. I just found something interesting. The Zephyrians' homeworld is mostly unchanged from its natural state. Their cities are small and built to blend in with the environment. They don't terraform planets. They adapt themselves to live on worlds as they find them. So they think our way of doing things is wrong, Lisa said. They see us changing entire worlds, and they think we're destroying them. But we're not destroying them, Secretary Turner insisted. We're making them better. We're making them suitable for human life. To them, that might be the same thing, Jake said. They see us taking a natural world and turning it into something completely different. They see us spreading from planet to planet, changing everything we touch. General Foster stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the city below. So you're saying the beast isn't a weapon at all. You're saying it's us. Human civilization itself. It fits, Katie said. Everything they've told us about the beast fits human expansion. We do spread from world to world. We do change everything. We touch, We do grow and build and consume resources. And we can't be stopped by normal weapons, Lisa added. Because we're not a weapon. We're a way of life. The room was silent for a long moment. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. This is crazy, Secretary Turner said finally. We're talking about surrender because aliens don't like the way we live. We're not talking about surrender, General Foster said. We're talking about understanding. If we know what they're really afraid of, maybe we can find a way to deal with it. How do we deal with it? Jake asked. They want us to give them the beast. But if the beast is just human civilization, how do we give that to them? We can't, Dr. Hayes said. We can't give up being human. Then we fight, Secretary Turner said. We fight them with everything. We have. And if we lose? Mayor Park asked. What happens to all the humans on Earth? What happens to our colonies? No one had an answer for that. General Foster returned to her seat. We need more information. We need to understand exactly what the aliens are thinking. Katie, I want you to analyze every piece of alien communication we have. Look for patterns. Look for clues about how they see us. Yes, ma'am, Katie said. Dr. Hayes, I want you to prepare a complete report on human expansion. Every colony, every terraforming project, every change we've made to the worlds we've settled. I want to see ourselves the way the aliens see us. I'll get right on it, Dr. Hayes said. And Jake, General Foster said, I want you to think about that alien general. What did he sound like when he talked about the beast? Was he angry? Scared? Excited? Jake thought back to the meeting. Scared, he said. Definitely scared. And maybe a little disgusted. Like he was talking about something that made him sick. That tells us something important, Lisa said. If they're scared of us, then maybe we have more power than we think. Or maybe we're in more danger than we think, Secretary Turner said. General Foster looked around the room. Either way, we need to figure this out fast. We have less than 20 hours before the aliens want an answer. And right now, we don't even know what the question really is. As the meeting ended, Jake stayed behind with Lisa and Katie. They looked at the pictures of human colonies still showing on the screen. Do you really think we look like monsters to them? Lisa asked. Maybe, Jake said. But if we're monsters, we're the kind of monsters that build hospitals and schools and parks. We're the kind of monsters that make dead worlds come alive. That's not monstrous at all, Katie said. That's beautiful. Try telling that to the aliens, Jake said. They seem to think we're the scariest thing in the galaxy. Outside the window, the sun was setting over Earth. Soon, they would have to give the aliens an answer. But first, they needed to understand what they were really being asked to give up. Dr. Lisa Kane had not slept all night. She sat in her lab, surrounded by stacks of papers and computer screens. Her coffee cup was empty, but she was too busy to notice. She was reading everything Earth scientists had learned about the Zephyrian Empire. Interesting, she said to herself as she read a report about Zephyrian biology. Very interesting. The door to her lab opened. Jake Morrison walked in, looking as tired as she felt. Any luck? He asked. Maybe, Lisa said. Look at this. She pointed to a diagram on her computer screen. This is the Zephyrian home world. Notice anything strange? Jake studied the image. It showed a planet covered in forests and oceans. Small cities were scattered across the surface, but they were tiny compared to human cities. It looks natural, he said. Exactly. Their cities are built into the landscape. They don't change the environment. They adapt to it. Lisa pulled up another screen. And look at this. The Zephyrians only have 12 major cities on their entire planet. 12 cities for a population of 3 billion people. That's not many, Jake said. No, it's not. And each city has been in the same location for over 1,000 years. They don't expand. They don't build new cities. They just maintain what they have. Jake sat down in a chair next to Lisa's desk. So they're not like us at all. That's right. We humans spread out. We build new cities all the time. We change the landscape to suit our needs. To them, that behavior must seem completely alien. Lisa opened another file. And there's something else. The Zephyrians evolved on a world with very limited resources. Water was scarce. Food was hard to find. They learned to be very careful about using what they had. While humans learned to find new resources, Jake said. When we run out of something, we look for more of it somewhere else. Exactly? We're explorers. We're builders. We're constantly growing and changing. But they're conservers. They're careful. They're afraid of change. Jake thought about this for a moment. So when they see us terraforming planets and building cities, they think we're being wasteful and destructive. Worse than that, Lisa said. I think they see us as a threat to the natural order of the universe. Look at this. She showed him pictures of human colonies again. To us, these look like progress. We see green fields where there used to be empty rock. We see cities where there used to be wilderness. But they see destruction, Jake said. They see change on a scale that terrifies them. Remember, their cities haven't changed in 1,000 years. Then they see us completely transform an entire planet in just a few decades. Lisa stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the busy streets of Earth Command. Humans were walking around, working, building, always moving. Think about it from their perspective, she said. We arrive on a planet and immediately start changing it. We build farms, cities, spaceports. We bring in new plants and animals. We change the weather. We dig mines and build factories. We make it better, Jake said. To us, yes. But to them, we're destroying the planet's natural state. And once we start, we don't stop. We keep growing and building and changing until the whole planet is different. Jake was starting to understand, and then we move on to the next planet, and the next one after that. From their point of view, we're like a plague that spreads from world to world, consuming everything in our path. Lisa returned to her desk and pulled up a new file. I've been studying their language. The word they translate as beast, actually, has a more complex meaning. It doesn't just mean a dangerous animal. It means something that consumes without limit, something that grows without stopping, something that changes everything it touches. That does sound like human civilization, Jake admitted. It gets worse, Lisa said. I found records of other species the Zephyrians have encountered, species that expand rapidly and change their environment. In every case, the Zephyrians have fought them. And in every case, they've won by containing the expansion. How do they contain it? They destroy the expanding species before it can spread too far. They see rapid expansion as a disease that must be cured. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. So they're not just afraid of us. They think we're a threat to the entire galaxy. That's exactly what they think. And from their point of view, they're right. We are spreading across the galaxy. We are changing worlds. We are growing and building and consuming resources at a rate they've never seen before. The door to the lab opened again. Katie Brooks hurried in, carrying a tablet computer. I've got something, she said. I've been analyzing the alien communications, and I found something important. What is it? Lisa asked. The aliens have been watching us for 30 years, right? But they didn't attack us for most of that time. They waited until we had established 17 colonies. Then they came. Why is that important? Jake asked. Because 17 is their danger number, Katie said. In their communications, they talk about the 17 threshold. Any species that establishes 17 or more colonies is considered a galaxy-wide threat. So we crossed a line, Lisa said. We grew beyond what they considered safe. Exactly. And now they think we're going to keep growing until we've consumed the entire galaxy. Jake stood up and started pacing around the lab. This is crazy. We're not trying to conquer the galaxy. We're just trying to find new places to live. But that's exactly what scares them, Lisa said. We're not conquering worlds through war. We're conquering them through growth. We're changing them so completely that they become human worlds instead of alien worlds. And we're good at it, Katie added. Really good. We've never failed to successfully terraform a planet. We've never failed to establish a colony. From their point of view, we're unstoppable. Jake stopped pacing. So what do we do? Do we stop expanding? Do we stay on the worlds we already have? Would that even be possible? Lisa asked. Can humans stop growing and building and exploring? Can we stop being human? I don't know, Jake said. But maybe we don't have to. Maybe there's another way. What do you mean? I mean, maybe we can show them that we're not the monster they think we are. Maybe we can show them that human expansion isn't destructive. Maybe we can show them that we're building something good. Lisa looked skeptical. How do we do that? They've already made up their minds about us. I'm not sure yet, Jake said. But I think we need to go back to General Vexthek. We need to have another conversation. What are you going to tell him? Jake thought for a moment. The truth. That we understand what they're afraid of. That we know they think we're the beast. And that we want to show them they're wrong. And if they don't believe us, then we'll have to prove it to them. Katie looked at her watch. We don't have much time. The deadline is in 6 hours. And we better get started, Jake said. Lisa, can you prepare a presentation about human expansion? Something that shows the positive side of what we do? I can try, Lisa said. But I'm not sure the aliens will see it the same way we do. We have to try, Jake said. Because if we don't, we're going to have to fight them. And if we fight them, a lot of people are going to die. Lisa nodded. I'll get the presentation ready. And Katie, Jake said, I want you to come with us. Your analysis of their communications might be important. Are you sure this will work? Katie asked. No, Jake said honestly. But it's better than giving up or starting a war. As Jake left the lab, he thought about what he had learned. The aliens weren't evil. They weren't trying to conquer humanity for no reason. They were afraid. They were afraid of human nature itself. They were afraid of humanity's drive to grow and build and explore. The question was, could fear be turned into understanding? Could enemies become friends? Jake was about to find out. But first, he had to figure out how to explain to a 12-foot-tall alien lizard that humans weren't monsters. They were just people trying to make a better life for themselves among the stars. That it was going to be the hardest conversation of his life. Jake Morrison stood in the same huge room where he had met General Vexthek before. This time, he was not alone. Dr. Lisa Kane stood beside him, along with Katie Brooks and 2 other humans. Tony Martinez was Earth's best engineer, and Susan Walsh was a famous architect. They had volunteered to come on this dangerous mission. General Vexthek towered over them, his yellow eyes glowing with anger. You have come back, he said through his translator. Do you bring us the beast? We bring you the truth, Jake said. We understand what you're afraid of now. You're afraid of human expansion. You're afraid of the way we change worlds and build cities. You think we're going to consume the entire galaxy. The general's eyes narrowed. You admit it. You admit that you are the beast. No, Jake said firmly. We admit that we understand your fear, but we're not what you think we are. We're not a monster. We're not a plague. We're just people trying to make a better life. Lies, General Vexthick roared. We have seen what you do. We have seen how you destroy worlds. We have seen how you spread like a disease across the galaxy. Lisa stepped forward. General, may we show you something? May we demonstrate what human expansion really looks like? The alien general looked suspicious. What kind of demonstration? A real one, Tony Martinez said. Let us show you how humans actually build and grow. Let us show you what we call normal expansion. We will not allow you to release the beast here, General Vexthick said. We will not allow you to consume our ship. We're not asking to work on your ship, Susan Walsh said. There's an asteroid near here, a dead rock with no life on it. Let us show you what we do with dead rocks. General Vexthick was quiet for a long moment. He spoke in his own language to other aliens in the room. Finally, he turned back to the Yo. Humans, this asteroid, it is truly dead? No life? Completely dead, Jake said. It's just rock and metal. Nothing lives there. Nothing can live there. And you will show us your expansion on this dead rock? Yes, we'll show you exactly how. Humans build and grow. We'll show you what we do when we find a new world. The general thought about this. How long will this demonstration take? 3 days, Tony said. Give us 3 days, and we'll show you what human expansion really looks like. And if this is a trick, if you try to escape or attack us, then you can destroy us, Jake said. You have hundreds of ships. We have 5 people and some construction equipment. If we try anything, you can stop us easily. General Vexthick looked at his advisors again. They spoke in their alien language for several minutes. Finally, the general nodded. Very well. You may conduct your demonstration, but we will watch everything you do. And if you try to deceive us, you will die. Understood, Jake said. Thank you for giving us this chance. 2 hours later, the humans were on the asteroid. It was a small rock, about 5 miles across. The surface was gray and dusty, with no air and no water. It was the kind of place that most species would ignore completely. This is perfect, Tony said as he looked around. Lots of metal in the rock, some ice deposits underground. We can work with this. The aliens are watching us, Katie said. She pointed to the Zephyrian ships hovering nearby. They have sensors pointed at us from 12 different directions. Good, Susan said. I want them to see everything we do. I want them to understand. The humans got to work. They had brought a small construction ship with them, loaded with tools and equipment. But they had also brought something else. Enthusiasm. Okay, people, Jake said. Let's show them what humans can do. The first thing they did was survey the asteroid. Tony and his team mapped every inch of it, looking for the best places to build. They found metal deposits, ice deposits, and solid rock that could be used for construction. The aliens are confused, Katie reported. She was monitoring the Zephyrian communications. They can't understand why we're studying the asteroid so carefully. They expected us to just start building. That's because they don't understand human planning, Lisa said. We don't just build randomly. We study and plan and design first. On the second day, the real work began. The humans used their equipment to dig into the asteroid's surface. They carved out spaces for buildings and tunnels for transportation. They set up machines to process the rock and metal. Look at this, Susan said, pointing to her plans. We're going to build a small colony here. Nothing fancy. Just the basics. Living quarters, work areas, life support systems. Everything a small group of humans would need to survive. How small? Jake asked. About 50 people, Susan said. Big enough to be self-sufficient, but small enough to be manageable. As the humans worked, the aliens watched in amazement. The humans worked around the clock, taking turns sleeping and eating. They worked with a speed and efficiency that the Zephyrians had never seen before. "They're impressed," Katie reported. "I'm picking up communications about our work rate. They can't believe how fast we're building." "This is nothing," Tony said as he welded a metal beam into place. "This is us being careful and slow. If we were in a hurry, we could build twice as fast." On the third day, the colony was nearly complete. The humans had built a small city inside the asteroid. There were living quarters, work areas, a greenhouse for growing food, and even a small recreation area. "It's beautiful," Lisa said as she looked around the main living area. "It's like a little piece of Earth, but better." "Better how?" Jake asked. "Better because we designed it from scratch. We didn't have to work around existing buildings or old mistakes. We could build it exactly the way we wanted it." That afternoon, General Vexthek came to visit the colony. He had to squeeze through the doorways because he was so tall, but he was able to see everything the humans had built. "This is what you call normal expansion?" he asked. "This is what we call basic colonization," Jake said. "This is what we do when we find a suitable world. We study it, we plan carefully, and then we build what we need to survive." "But you have changed everything," the general said. "This asteroid was natural. Now it is artificial." "It was a dead rock," Susan said. "Nothing could live here. Now it can support 50 people. We didn't destroy anything. We created something." "You created something that serves your needs," the general said. "You changed the asteroid to make it suitable for humans." "Yes," Tony said. "That's what we do. We find places where we can live, and we make them livable. We don't just take resources. We create value." General Vexthek looked around the colony again. "And you do this on every world you visit?" "Every world we colonize," Lisa said. "We don't just take. We build. We create. We make things better." "Better for you," the general said. "Better for everyone," Jake said. "Look at this colony. It's not just a place for humans to live. It's a place where humans can work and create and build new things. Maybe someday humans from this colony will build other colonies. Maybe they'll make new discoveries or invent new technologies. Maybe they'll create art or music or literature. Or maybe they'll just consume more resources," the general said. "Maybe," Jake admitted, "but they'll also create new resources. They'll find new solutions to old problems. They'll build things that didn't exist before." The general was quiet for a long moment. He walked through the colony, looking at everything the humans had built. Finally, he turned back to Jake. "This is what you call a mild pup?" he asked. Jake smiled. "This is what we call a small, careful colony. This is us being slow and cautious. This is us taking 3 days to build something that we could have built in 1 day if we were in a hurry. And if you were not being careful? If we were not being careful, we would have built a colony 10 times this size. We would have built mines and factories and spaceports. We would have built a city that could support thousands of people." "General." Vexthek's eyes widened. "Thousands? Or tens of thousands," Susan said. "Or hundreds of thousands. It depends on what the people need. And you could build such a city in 3 days? If we had enough people and equipment, yes," Tony said. "Humans are very good at building things quickly when we need to." The general looked around the colony one more time. "This is not the beast," he said finally. "This is worse than the beast. This is the infant form of the beast. This is what the beast looks like when it is just beginning to grow." Jake realized that their demonstration had not convinced the general. If anything, it had made him more afraid. "General, I think you're missing the point. We're not trying to scare you. We're trying to show you that human expansion isn't destructive. It's creative." "Creative?" General Vexthek said. "You call the complete transformation of a world creative?" "Yes." Lisa said, "Look at what we built here. 3 days ago, this was a dead rock. Now it's a place where people can live and work and be happy. We didn't destroy anything. We created something new. You created something that serves only your species." The general said, "You made the asteroid suitable for humans, but unsuitable for anyone else." "It was already unsuitable for everyone," Katie pointed out. "Nothing could live here before. At least now something can." But General Vexthek was not convinced. "You do not understand. This small demonstration proves everything we feared. You took a natural object and completely changed it in 3 days. You worked without stopping. You consumed resources without limit. You built without permission from anyone." "Permission from who?" Jake asked. There was no one here to ask permission. 6 months later, Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the new joint station orbiting Earth. Through the large windows, he could see something that would have been impossible before. Human and Zephyrian, ships working together. The station itself was a symbol of what they had accomplished. Half of it was built in the human style, fast, efficient, and bold. The other half was built in the Zephyrian style, careful, natural, and designed to last for centuries. The two halves were connected by a beautiful central area that combined both approaches. "It still amazes me," said Dr. Lisa Kane as she joined Jake at the window. 6 months ago, we were preparing for war. Now look at us." Jake nodded. "It wasn't easy getting here." "No, it wasn't." The first few months had been difficult. Both species had to learn new ways of thinking. Humans had to slow down and consider the environmental impact of their building projects. Zephyrians had to accept that some change was necessary and beneficial. "The joint colony project is going well," Lisa said. "The reports from New Haven are very positive." New Haven was the first planet where humans and Zephyrians had worked together to establish a colony. Instead of the usual rapid human terraforming, they had taken a slower, more careful approach. They had studied the planet's ecosystem for months before making any changes. When they did build, they built in harmony with the existing environment. "The Zephyrians were right about some things," Jake admitted. "We were changing planets too quickly. We weren't thinking enough about what we might be destroying." "And we were right about some things too," Lisa said. "Their approach was too slow, too cautious. Some worlds really do need to be changed to support life." The door to the observation deck opened. Captain Ben Torres walked in, followed by General Vexthek. The alien general had to duck to fit through the human-sized doorway, but he no longer seemed threatening. Over the months, Jake had come to respect the alien leader. "The construction report," Ben said, handing Jake a tablet. "The new shipyard is ahead of schedule." Jake read the report with interest. The shipyard was another joint project. Human engineering and speed combined with Zephyrian precision and attention to detail. The result was a facility that could build ships faster than any human shipyard, but with the durability and environmental sensitivity that Zephyrians valued. "Very impressive," General Vexthek said in his careful English. He had been learning human languages, just as some humans had been learning Zephyrian. "Your people work very efficiently when they have proper guidance. And your people are much more creative when they're not afraid of change." Jake replied with a smile. It was true. The Zephyrians had surprised everyone with their innovations once they started working with humans. Their careful, methodical approach to problem-solving had led to breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. "The council meeting is in an hour," Ben reminded them. The Galactic Council was another new development. Representatives from both species met regularly to discuss expansion plans, environmental protection, and resource management. It was sometimes frustrating. Decisions took much longer than they used to, but the results were better than anything either species had achieved alone. Any word from the exploration teams? Jake asked. Yes, General Vexthik said. The team exploring the Kepler system has found 3 potentially habitable worlds. But they are taking the proper time to study them before making any recommendations. This was the new way. Instead of rushing to establish colonies, joint exploration teams would spend months studying new worlds. They would map the ecosystems, identify any existing life forms, and plan development that would work with the natural environment instead of against it. It's slower than we used to work, Lisa said, but the results are much better. And much more permanent, the general added. The colonies built with our combined methods will last for thousands of years. Jake thought about the old human colonies. Some of them had been built so quickly that they required constant maintenance and upgrading. The new joint colonies were designed to be stable and self-sustaining for centuries. Do you ever miss the old days? Ben asked. When we could build a colony in a few weeks? Sometimes, Jake admitted. There was something exciting about rapid expansion. The thrill of transforming an entire world in just a few months. But was it sustainable? General Vexthik asked. Could you have continued that pace of expansion forever? Jake thought about it. Probably not. We were starting to run into resource limitations, and some of our colonies were having environmental problems because we had built them too quickly. The old way was like a fire, the general said. Bright and fast and exciting, but fires burn out. Our new way is like a tree, slower to grow, but stronger and longer lasting. And trees can grow very large if they have enough time, Lisa added. That was the new human Zephyrian philosophy. Instead of rapid expansion followed by stagnation, they were building for long-term sustainable growth. It was slower, but it was. Also more stable and more thoughtful. The door opened again. Katie Brooks entered, carrying her ever-present tablet. She had become the chief liaison between human and Zephyrian communication systems. The numbers are in from the economic analysis. She said, the joint colonies are 40% more efficient than the old human colonies, and they produce 60% less environmental damage. And they're much more pleasant to live in, Ben added. The reports from colonists are overwhelmingly positive. This was another unexpected benefit. The new colonies, built with careful attention to natural beauty and environmental harmony, were actually more appealing to human colonists than the old rapid-build settlements. People like living in places that feel natural, Lisa explained. Even if those places are artificial, they feel more like home when they're designed to work with the environment. And they provide better opportunities for scientific research, General Vexthek added. When you preserve the natural ecosystem alongside your development, you can continue to study and learn from it. Jake looked out the window again. A new ship was approaching the station, one of the joint exploration vessels returning from a survey mission. It was built in the new combined style, sleek and efficient like a human ship, but also elegant and durable like a Zephyrian vessel. You know, he said, I think we solved the wrong problem. What do you mean? Lisa asked. We thought the problem was that the Zephyrians were afraid of human expansion. But the real problem was that both our species were incomplete. Humans knew how to grow and build, but we didn't know how to do it sustainably. Zephyrians knew how to preserve and maintain, but they didn't know how to adapt and innovate. So we needed each other, General Vexthek said. Exactly. Humans alone were too reckless. Zephyrians alone were too cautious. But together, we can do things that neither species could do alone. The beast is tamed, the general said, with what Jake had learned was the Zephyrian equivalent of a smile. No, Jake said. The beast never existed. What you were afraid of wasn't a monster. It was just one half of a solution. Human expansion without wisdom. Growth without sustainability. Building without planning. And what we feared wasn't evil either, the general admitted. Zephyrian caution without innovation, preservation without progress, stability without growth. So what do we call it now? Katie asked. What do we call this new approach to expansion and development? Jake thought for a moment. How about partnership? Human creativity and Zephyrian wisdom working together. Partnership. General Vexthek repeated the word slowly. Yes, that is a good word for what we have built. The council meeting that afternoon went smoothly. Plans were approved for 3 new joint colonies and 2 new research stations. A team of human engineers and Zephyrian biologists would survey a promising system in the Centauri sector, and funding was allocated for a new cultural exchange program. You know what the best part is? Lisa said as they walked out of the meeting. What? Jake asked. We're expanding faster now than we ever did before. Not in terms of the number of colonies, but in terms of actual progress. The colonies we're building now will support 10 times as many people as the old ones. They'll last 10 times as long, and they'll provide opportunities for research and development that we never had before. So the beast wasn't tamed, Ben said. It was improved. It was evolved, General Vexthek corrected. Like all living things, it grew and changed and became something better. Jake smiled. And it's still growing. We're planning colonies that will support millions of people. Research stations that will make discoveries we can't even imagine yet. Ships that will take us to galaxies we've never seen before. But carefully, the general said. But carefully, Jake agreed. As they walked through the station, Jake noticed something that would have seemed impossible a year ago. Human and Zephyrian children were playing together in the recreation area. They were playing a new game that combined human rules with Zephyrian strategy. It was more complex than either species' games alone, but it was also more fun. That's the future, Jake said, pointing to the children. A generation that grows up thinking cooperation is normal. A generation that doesn't see expansion and conservation as opposites, but as parts of the same goal. What goal is that? Katie asked. Making the galaxy a better place to live, Jake said. For everyone. General Vexthek nodded approvingly. Now,